G'day and welcome to Evention. Well, we've all been there and it absolutely sucks when a horse hits the skid right in front of a jump. Stopping is probably the worst problem we could experience in the show jumping and the cross country. It's a debilitating issue that messes with horse and rider confidence. Now, I'm not going to give you the foolproof magic cure to stop your horse from refusing ever again, but I am going to try and give you some insight into my training method that I found really effective with young horses and horses that have had problems in the past. So let's get cracking. All right, today I'm riding Brew, who's an OTTB, and he's not that experienced. I don't try and have any of my horses stop, so I'm going to try and replicate it as best I can. We made a very scary jump, so he at least will hesitate, and you can get the idea, hopefully. The keys, things you want to remember when we're dealing with a refusal, the 3 Ps: preparation, precision, and patience. So preparation basically means taking the time to be in a position where you can control all the variables. You can adjust the size of the fence, you have someone there to help you. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where you can't adjust a fence and then the horse stops and you just can't get him over it. If you go home with that, it's going to put a real dent in both your confidence. Precision relates to being very accurate with the pressure that you put on the horse, as well as where you steer him and where you keep him focused on. Patience is self-explanatory. You need a lot of it when you're working through a problem like this. So what I'm going to try and do is come around here. First, I'm going to show you what not to do, and then hopefully work through it in a very methodical way. So I'm going to approach this jump. Like I said, I don't really want him to slide into it and stop. I don't want to teach him that, but I'm going to hopefully mimic the idea of a horse that stopped. So, all right. So say we pulled on the brakes here. Now, it's caught you by surprise, you're really shocked. And now, if you were to turn the horse away, and I'm going to do it, but I don't want you to. If you were to turn the horse away and start beating him now to circle him around, where's his focus? He's not looking at a jump. All he's worried about is the fact that you're wailing on him. So he's probably going to get very, very tense, and then we're going to try again. It's not really, in all seriousness, it's not really a very good preparation to get him to jump. So, and then we've taken the focus away from the jump, and he comes back in here, and chances are he's going to be a little bit more nervous. He's going to have a very stiff back. Now, let's get back to our initial point where we've stopped here. Now, instead of changing his focus, I really want a young or inexperienced horse to maintain where we want him to go. So he knows that the pressure is there. The pressure is the jump. We don't even have to kick him that hard. He knows what we're expecting of him. Now, if your horse knows how to rein back, the next step I would ask you to do is rein back a couple steps at a time and then stop. And then a couple more steps and then stop. If you can't do that on your horse, have somebody stand in front of you on the ground and give you a hand. So I don't know if Brew rein backs or not yet. No, he does. Good boy. The aids for rein back is just half halt and close your legs, like you see. Good boy, it's okay. And so what I'm doing is, I'm not really getting after him. I'm trying to keep his heart rate down a little bit. Oh, good boy. That's probably the first time he's ever had to rein back before. Come on, back you go. Good boy, that a boy, you're fine, you're fine. Brrr, you're fine, good boy. So the whole time, even though I've been going backwards here, I've maintained his focus on what I'm expecting of him. Now, he knows it's there, he knows what I'm about to ask him to do, but he's not getting upset. Now, this is where that's precision, and this is where it comes into play. The pressure that you apply now moving into this, it can't be over the top, because after all, we want to train the horse to want to do it. We don't want to just make him do it. So I want to close my legs, I want him to go forward, but I don't want to have to chase him. When I chase him, he takes his attention off the jump and puts it more back on me. And then obviously patience here, because you're going to have to pick the right time. Now, if he's real nervous and he's back and forth, you've just got to sit really quiet and feel like you've got all day. There's no rush. You want the horse to jump this successfully in a non-panicked way. Last but not least, you don't need a ton of speed to get over a jump. Most horses could jump about 3 or 4 feet from a standstill if they had to. Now, I'm not recommending that, but a couple trot steps to this, and that's all he really needs. That's all the amount of energy he needs to clear this. So I'm gonna ask him to go back a couple more steps. Right back. Oh. Come on, back you go. Oh, good boy. Probably the first time he's ever done it. And I'm just gonna kick him into a trot, just keep my eyes up, keep my leg nice and secure and defensive, grab a little mane if I have to, and ask him to pop over this. Good boy. And then when you get to the other side, make sure you make a real fuss of him. Tell him he's a really good boy. And I'll come back again, and I'm going to walk him up to this in a straight line, and I'm looking for him to kind of take me to the jump. I don't want to have to always chase him. Atta boy. Good boy. Oh, what a horse. Good boy. And as you can see, now he didn't really stop terribly in the first time, but you could see here that this horse is very relaxed about his job. He's not upset. And that's what you want out on the cross-country course. You want a horse that wants to do it. Good boy, Brew. So to recap, preparation. Making sure that you could adjust the fence if you needed to. I made this real scary by putting a Liverpool on it. If I'd had a problem, what I could do is I could get rid of that Liverpool. I could make that box even smaller if I had to. I could add on guide poles. I could do any kind of thing to help me achieve what I'm trying to get the horse to do. So preparation is really key. If I need someone to help me on the ground, if I need someone to help me back up, I make sure that I have that person there before I go and begin jumping. The next is precision. Not turning the horse away immediately and taking his focus away. Okay, we've got to try and keep him focused on the task. Him looking at the jump is sometimes more than enough pressure. And last but not least is patience. You don't have to be in a hurry to get to the other side. Now, there is some circumstances where you're not going to be able to train it just like this. You're going to say to me, well, what happens if he stops at a 4-foot jump in the middle of the show jumping? I can't work through it like that. Well, that's where I come back to my first point. If at home you've been careful about it and you've been training it, hopefully that's not going to be a problem. But yes, there is going to be some times we're going to have to represent, and hopefully that's more the exception to the rule rather than what happens all the time. All right, without further ado, let's go to a Schramm shout out. Today's shout out goes to the American Horse Defense Fund, whose mission is to facilitate the protection, conservation, and humane treatment of all equine species through education, advocacy, and litigation when necessary in state, federal, and international arenas. Congratulations, guys. You're going to receive a $100 gift card to Riding Warehouse. Back to the action. Okay, gang, hopefully you got a few ideas on how to work through this problem at home. I don't believe you have to be an expert to be able to figure all this out. If you just take a little bit of time and try and think about it through a horse's perspective, generally you'll stay on the right track. Best of luck to you all. See you next week. Well, we've all been there, and it absolutely sucks. When a horse puts on the, when a horse hits, stopping is probably one of the worst issues that we could have in the cross country and the show jumping, and it can be a debilitating. All right, guys, hopefully you picked up a few tips to help you with your refusing horse. Piece of